I basically stopped playing about 25 years ago, and I think I was on the verge of getting a master's title back when I was in high school, which was in the early to mid 80s. And then I transitioned to college. So I moved from the New Orleans area to Baton Rouge. And basically, with college, I was more focused on schoolwork and dating and things like that. And chess really kind of like went to a back burner sort of thing. So I really was kind of like inactive for a number of years during college, 5 years. And then after college, I moved back to New Orleans in the late 80s, early 90s. And I think I was able to get master pretty quickly after just returning to the game. So really, I should have probably made master back in high school. I was probably like, 20, 30, 40, 50 points, you know, getting 2200. But just playing local in the New Orleans area, it's very, very difficult, especially now and back then for different reasons, to try and get your rating high because you're just not pulling from that many people who have higher ratings to where you can increase your rating. And when you lose a game, you're going to usually get hit for, a pretty big hit to your rating. And so like even just returning to this area about 2.5, 3 years ago, I think I was, close to 2200 on some of the rating scales, and I've probably already dropped, 100 or more points in some of those ratings because you just, when you're out of practice and you're not playing that much, and in some of these faster tournaments, it's, you're starting with sort of like a traditional sort of like game in 30 or game in 40 with a delay. It's kind of like a slowish time control, and then you reach a certain point where the clock becomes a very big factor. So even if a person's down a piece, it's very, very viable for them to continue playing. The game shifts to sort of like a blitz, and but you can ever actually just kind of go all out blitz when there's a sudden death. And when there's like a 5-second sudden death, it's like if you try to, mix things up or make some sort of speculative sacrifice based on the opponent's time, they can usually basically just take the material, and then as long as they have that full 5 seconds, just keep playing. So it's like the game kind of like fluctuates back and forth. And then as the game has changed so much over the years, I mean, with the internet coming along, and now with a lot of these sites and the computerization of the game, to where a lot of things are very chartered. And the other thing too is back when in the late 90s or mid 90s, when Kasparov first started playing, IBM's Deep Blue and Deep Thought, and computerized programming was just kind of like really making an impact then. Well, of course, it's progressed so much since then, but a lot of the very top players realized that with this computerization, they basically have to change the style of play. And so back prior to that, you saw like a lot of crazy aggressive type of theoretical sharp type of play at the top. And then after that, everything sort of became very still and very maneuvering, which was basically in direct result to how computers play. You know what I mean? So grandmasters, they all sort of like kind of like became very vanilla, and the game has kind of like changed a lot. And the way there is probably a lot more draws these days, and a lot more, I would kind of say, people all sort of like piling into particular openings which offer unexplored territory, and then basically it just gets explored up real quick, and then they look for something else. And it's sort of like a herd, where a migration, they migrate to a new area with a lot of area to consume. You know what I mean? But I know I probably really didn't answer your question about when I first got master, but it was actually kind of like I probably didn't even know when I actually crossed over 2200. But I actually don't even really think I'm that good of a player. I actually think there's probably at any given time only about 10 people that actually know how to play the game. Maybe in this day and age it may be 20 to 50 players, but everyone else is really just kind of like pushing wood. But a lot of my strengths also maybe they don't really fit in with a lot of this fast sort of stuff. And by fast I mean, back when I first started playing, it was time controls that now maybe only see it for like top level GMs, where you had like a 2 hours for the first 40 or 45 moves, and then an additional maybe like 30 minutes for 15 moves, and then there was an ongoing continual allocated amount of time for so many moves. So the games could go on and on and on and on. But when you have things move with very fast time controls, you basically have to, especially someone my age, up in age, at the seniors event, you basically have to stay active. You have to be active to basically be able to keep up for such fast time controls. And part of that too is you have to kind of like, be up to date on opening theory and whatnot, or at least whatever your opening repertoire is. And I got hit bad by Katrina back in 2005, and I lost probably 99% of all of my possessions, including house. And so I lost all of my chess stuff. And all of my books, I had notes and highlights and references, and so I had like tons of information, which I just sort of like put together and accumulated and analyzed ever since I started playing tournament chess back in the very late 70s. And when you lose all that stuff, it's like there's kind of like I was just like, I'm not going to try to rebuild basically. And so I really just sort of kind of like just adopted a coffee house approach to the game, where I'm not going to sort of book up. I'm basically going to try and take opposition out of opening preparation and basically try to get to just playable positions, and basically then try to outplay the individual from basically sort of like where you're playing them and you're not playing so much opening theory or their prepared work. And the other thing too, with a lot of the young players, I mean, so many of the kids these days, they're getting consultation, especially with online stuff, from coaches, and a lot of the coaches, I mean, basically a lot of that is a lot of opening theory, so you're basically paying someone probably a high dollar amount, which they're not really worth, and they're basically just sharing you their opening repertoire. I mean, that's kind of like one aspect of it.